minutes of interaction with all of you. And if, as I said earlier, if you can introduce yourself and then your news agency before asking the question. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Andrea. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining. Basically, the purpose of that visit is maybe two or threefold. One is, of course, to express solidarity with Lebanon, obviously, solidarity with the Lebanese people. These are difficult times, we all know this. But also, since I am the head of the Department of Peace Operations, and solidarity with our colleagues at UNIFIL. As you know, they are undergoing a difficult situation as well. This is a combat environment, and it is affecting in many ways the ability of our peacekeepers to continue doing their work. So that is the first thing. The second thing is how we can continue as UN Secretariat to support UNIFIL in the continuation of its efforts to stay. We should say stay and deliver, but of course the constraints on our peacekeepers are significant, and they have been limited in their ability to continue delivering on the mandate. But at the same time, as you know, the peacekeepers continue to be deployed in all the positions. We think it is very important to preserve that presence everywhere. Why? Because UNIFIL has a mandate from the UN Security Council, and therefore we feel that we are duty bound to this mandate. We have to do everything possible so that UNIFIL continues to be in a position to act today and also tomorrow. And we have been saying that had we vacated some of the position, then that would have certainly jeopardized the capacity for UNIFIL to continue today, but that would, perhaps even more importantly, that would have significantly undermined the capacity for UNIFIL to play a role tomorrow when the cessation of hostilities takes place, hopefully sooner than later. And we also indicated that staying in the positions, in all the positions, ensures that those positions will not be used by others. And that is, of course, critically important because we have a responsibility to making sure that the UN continues to be seen as neutral and impartial. And of course, any other party being seen as using a UN facility, a UN position, then that would have been extremely negative from that point of view as well. Now, the peacekeepers, as you know, have been affected by the current situation. Some of them have been wounded. When I visited Nakura yesterday, I had an opportunity to meet with some of the wounded peacekeepers. I didn't meet with all of them because some of them are deployed elsewhere, but I met with Indonesian peacekeepers from Sri Lanka, peacekeepers from Norway. All of them, or the peacekeeper had been wounded as a result of incidents affecting some of the location in Nakura. Thankfully, they have all recovered. Thankfully, none of these injuries have been life-threatening. But at the same time, of course, all of these incidents have been a cause for very great concern. And you know that we have been repeatedly conveying messages that all the parties have an international obligation to respect the safety and security of our peacekeepers. And this is a message that has been conveyed not only by us, but it is also a message that has been conveyed by the international community in a very united and very determined manner. And I want to thank the the member states, particularly the true contributing countries, for their support, for their dedication, for the very strong expression of support to UNIFIL. That expression of support has also emanated from the Security Council, and we believe that it is extremely important. I just met with the ambassadors from the true contributing countries. I reiterated our gratitude to them, our gratitude to the peacekeepers, the men and women who have served in and serve under the blue flag at UNIFIL. And I underlined to them that the unity, the support, the very vocal expression of solidarity with our peacekeepers is absolutely critical as we move forward. And then the third objective was to look at how we could, with our colleagues at UNIFIL, continue to prepare what I call the day after, in other words, when there is cessation of hostilities. You are very familiar with the repeated messages emanating from UN at all levels, which is that we call for an immediate ceasefire. We know that diplomatic efforts are ongoing, and we are totally supportive to these diplomatic efforts. We are doing what we can to, contribute to the success of these efforts. From that perspective, of course, we hope that the positive outcome will be there sooner than later, because every day that passes with the current situation causes more destruction, more displacement, more casualties. We, from our point of view, proceed under the assumption that the post-cessation of hostility situation and hopefully a return to the negotiating table, a return to implementing a peace agreement, all of this will be based on the implementation of Resolution 1701. I believe that there is a large consensus that Resolution 1701 remains the political framework for a settlement. And what we want to be in a position to do when this post-cessation of hostility occurs is to be ready for UNIFIL to play a role, and the most constructive and productive role in that regard. What does that imply? Well, first of all, that would imply, of course, an absolute prerequisite, which would be full commitment from all and compliant with Resolution 1701. If we don't have that political environment, then the rest will not be relevant. So that is absolutely something that we insist on. Any role, meaningful role for UNIFIL in terms of supporting the implementation by the parties would have to have as a prerequisite a full compliance from all to fully implement Resolution 1701. Now, assuming that we have those conditions, then we are looking at how UNIFIL could be adapted in terms of its presence, its footprint, its capacities, the extent to which we could do more in terms of supporting the Lebanese armed forces, because the redeployment of the Lebanese armed forces is an absolutely central element to any durable settlement, and we are aware and we appreciate the decision that were made by the Lebanese authorities in that regard, with their commitment to proceed with more recruitment and more training and elevate the level of preparedness of the Lebanese armed forces. We also appreciate the fact that at the Paris conference there were pledges made by many member states to support the Lebanese armed forces, together with the pledges to support the humanitarian effort, which also we welcome. So I believe that from our point of view, we want to play a role in greater support to the Lebanese armed forces. And of course, we look forward to working with the Lebanese armed forces, as we will be hopefully implementing or supporting rather the implementation of a settlement. We believe that as we are doing today, even in these very challenging circumstances, there continues to be a role for UNIFIL in terms of supporting the civilian population. As you know, even today, there are a number of activities that are ongoing from UNIFIL to the benefit of those civilians who remain in the area. Activities such as facilitating humanitarian assistance, activities such as facilitating medical support, and also in some cases evacuations. We believe that should there be a cessation of hostility situation, then UNIFIL should play a role in terms of supporting the civilian population, the rebuilding activities. Of course, I'm not saying that the main role would be for UNIFIL. Obviously, it would be would have to imply a very broad international collective effort. But certainly, there should be a role for UNIFIL, and we're also ready to look at how that could materialize. So these are more or less the three main elements of the discussion, that visit, the three main purposes of this visit. I had discussions with the Excellency Prime Minister, the Speaker of the Parliament, the Minister of Defense, Foreign Affairs, Chief of the Lebanese Army, so the leadership in Lebanon, as well as I indicated, the representative of the member states, the diplomatic community, including the representative of the troop contributing. And I want to end by really thanking our colleagues at UNIFIL and really expressing our our immense gratitude to them for what they're doing, their resilience, their courage, their determination and dedication. Civilian, military, all of them united in delivering on their mandate, even in these challenging conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. Floor yours.
So as we've been hearing a lot about the potential ceasefire discussions, some of the proposals that have come out include conditions that seem to potentially conflict with 1701 or to alter 1701, such as Israel retaining the right to have overflights over Lebanon or continuing to have military operations. What's your position on that?
Well, I mean, what I can say is that the discussions are ongoing, of course, and you know, there are lots of moving parts in this diplomatic process, as is usually the case. So I don't want to sort of prejudge one element or the other, but I believe that fundamentally we're talking about moving towards an agreement, right? A peace agreement, which by definition needs to have the support of all the parties, right? So I think that I don't need to say more in terms of attempting to respond to your question, right? I mean, by definition, there would have to be an agreement by the parties. I would add also that up to now, what we are hearing from everyone is that Resolution 1701 remains the political framework for an agreement. So that is again the assumption on which we proceed, and I think Resolution 1701 is quite a solid framework for a settlement.
From Reuters. Have you had discussions with contributing countries on what more they could provide in terms of troops number, and what would you support an expanded mandate for UNIFIL in terms of its prerogatives to enforce 1701? What has been discussed?
Okay. Now, UNIFIL is not about enforcing any settlement, and it's not about enforcing Resolution 1701. And I think that has to be very clear. Implementing Resolution 1701 is the responsibility of the parties. UNIFIL has a supportive role. And there is a lot of substance in that supporting role. But then the prerequisite is full commitment from the parties, from all the parties, to implement genuinely 1701 and full compliance with all its provisions. Now, having said this, and again, it's very important to repeat time and again this very fundamental notion, because sometimes, let's be honest, I mean, we hear notions that, you know, if Resolution 1701 was not implemented, that's because we didn't. UNIFIL did not implement Resolution 1701. It is for the party to implement 1701. Having said this, though, that doesn't mean that there should be no adaptation to UNIFIL's capabilities, UNIFIL's modus operandi, you know, the kind of assets that it could use. For example, because of what is happening today, we believe that there will be more need in terms of clearing explosive devices, mines, and all that kind of thing. There will probably be a need to do more of what we are already doing, actually, which is to clear roads that are being sometimes sort of destroyed or damaged. And if we enter, again, which is what we hope sooner rather than later, a phase of peace agreement implementation, rebuilding, return of the population, then there will be probably more of these needs, and therefore it has an impact in terms of how we look at the capacity. Even, again, underlining that we would certainly not aspire to a main role in terms of reconstruction, but those kind of capacities, you know, engineering, IEDs, and most likely we will need more of those. And there are already some talks that are ongoing with troop contributing countries for the purpose of looking at how those needs could be fulfilled. But I want to also rebound on what you're saying about numbers. We don't necessarily think in terms of numbers. We think in terms of what would be the needs and how could they be fulfilled. There are ways in which, of course, or there are areas in which some additional numbers might be required, but then again, we look at the capabilities rather than the need. How about technology as well? You know, how about enhance technological capacities so that UNIFIL can better implement its mandate in terms of observing? And then again, all of this would require acceptance, support, a better a compliance type of political environment, compliance-oriented type of political environment.
Bonjour, bienvenue à Beyrouth, c'est Zora de Télé-Liban, la télévision publique officielle. Premièrement, une petite question. En octobre, vous aviez prévenu le Conseil de sécurité sur la sûreté et la sécurité des troupes et que les soldats de la paix, leur sécurité était menacée. Est-ce que vous avez reçu des garanties, des assurances quelconques lors de vos dernières rencontres ces 2 jours? And my second question as well, are you foreseeing the participation of any other countries in the UNIFIL?
Alors, pour ce qui concerne la sécurité des personnels de l'UNIFIL, de la FINUL, okay, that's okay, no problem. Yeah, the question was about safety and security.
If he has received any guarantees on the security of the troops.
Very good question.
Yeah.
Since we are all concerned.
What we've done is to repeatedly tell publicly, privately, all parties that it's an obligation to protect the safety and security of peacekeepers. And we're very grateful that it was not only us who conveyed those messages, it was a vast mobilization of member states, including troop contributing countries, but beyond troop contributing countries, and sometimes at the highest political level. And that has been tremendously helpful to us and to our peacekeepers. So, you know, what I would like to say is that we continue to be very vigilant. We will continue to call upon these international obligations to be respected, and we will continue to count on the continuation of that international mobilization, as I just did with the representative of the international community, with the ambassador whom I met, because then again, that mobilization, I believe, is critically important. I would add also that it's very good for the, it's a boost to the morale of our peacekeepers to feel that they have this strong level of support. Your second question was?
If there's any participation of any new countries?
Right.
And
we don't necessarily rule it out. I mean, we already have, I think, a total of 40 plus, almost 50 troop contributing countries, actually. So that's quite, I mean, UNIFIL is
15.
really 50, close to 50. We can, Andre, can give you the exact number. So we have a really high number of troop contributing countries, which itself also sort of manifests that UNIFIL is really a sort of, how to say, sort of represents the international community as a whole. If there is a need for some specific capacity or expertise coming from a country that currently is not a true contributing country, then of course we would be looking at it.
Just to follow up on that question, so you said there has been like a big mobilization, a vast mobilization of member states at the highest level. Have you seen actually that the situation for the UNIFIL has become safer, or that Israel and Hezbollah has actually taken that into account?
Yeah, I mean, I'm being very cautious there. I think we're still seeing some incidents. I wouldn't say that the frequency of these incidents has increased. I don't think that is the case. But we want to be very cautious there. I mean, I think again, it's important to keep insisting on these messages as we move forward.
Okay, we have time for another question.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is, you want the answer in French also?
No, not
Okay,
necessarily.
okay.
I mean,
No, okay.
preferably
It was a
in
request before. Okay.
Le client est roi. Hein?
ok, bah, je vais en français, ça ne me dérange pas.
Ok. Je réponds en français ou en...
Vous pouvez répondre en français.
Parfait.
C'était pour vous demander si, en cas de cessez-le-feu, est-ce que vous seriez aussi, dans le cadre d'un nouveau mandat, chargé du contrôle des frontières avec la Syrie et éventuellement du port et de l'aéroport?
Bon, alors là, c'est une question qui est extrêmement hypothétique et qui en plus ne dépend évidemment pas de nous. Ce que je peux dire, c'est que je n'ai entendu jusqu'à présent aucune suggestion à cet égard, vraiment aucune.
Could we get it in English as well?
Yeah.
Right. The question was about, whether there is any consideration of expanding the mandate for UNIFIL to monitoring the border with Syria as well as the port, and my answer was that that is of course very hypothetical as a question, that it would depend on the member states, not us. But then I added that I didn't hear anything from anyone along these lines, any suggestion along these lines.
My last question. Have you received any engagements from the parties regarding Resolution 1701? Specifically here we're talking about Israel, about abiding by all the obligations per that resolution?
Well, I mean, all parties are stating that they're committed to Resolution 1701, and that Resolution 1701 remain to them the political framework, and that they want full implementation of Resolution 1701. I would say it's a good basis, but then let's hope that beyond this very important statement, there will be an actual movement towards implementing Resolution 1701. And of course, the first step, obviously, is a ceasefire.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Is it possible to have a photo with you, sir?
Sure. Let me just remove all these.
Yeah.